Good afternoon, everybody. A pleasure to be with you for Sunday afternoon football in the NPL New South Wales men's competition. APIA Leichhardt hosting Blacktown City, a clash between two of New South Wales' most successful clubs. Alex Molchanoff along with you, and today's fixture marks a critical juncture in both clubs' seasons. For APIA, two heartbreaking losses in the past 8 days demands a response. A 92nd minute winner from Spirit on Saturday, followed by a shock defeat here to League One Northern Tigers in the Waratah Cup on Wednesday, have seen their chances of a defence of that title and a potential premiership push slip through their fingers. So the focus turns to solidifying their spot in the top six finals places as they prepare for a first Australian Championship campaign come October. Their visitors, Blacktown, have suffered a topsy-turvy run of form as well that's seen them slip out of that same premiership picture. A win today integral as well if they're to sit comfortably in the six heading into the final third of the season. So plenty on the line across the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Let's have a quick look at the lineups and see how both teams will try to claim the 3 points this afternoon. Franco Parisi makes 7 changes as he did on Wednesday. 3 differences between the side that is named today and the one that was beaten by Spirit last Saturday. Oliver Kalatz brought back in to goal. Drayden Kelly back in after being suspended for the midweek clash. Joel Pertalicio expected to partner him in the heart of defence. Michael Kuda and Cameron Fong either side of them. Eddie Caspers comes into midfield with Jordan Segreto partnering Franco Farinella and a pretty solid front three. Jack Stewart coming off the right, Sean Simmons off the left, with Saya Kambiashi pushing through the middle. For Blacktown City, just one change from the side that defeated the Central Coast Mariners by a 1-0, thanks to Mitch Marlia's strike in the shadows of half-time. Jacob Kresnar out with an injury worry that just won't go away, so Jackson Bandiera comes in at left back. Behind him, Caden Henderson in goal, Lachlan Campbell at right back. Travis Major partnering Grant Lynch in the heart of defence again. The midfield three, Nick O'Brien, Adam Berry and Marty Fernandez. Behind Mitch Marlia, Danny Choi and Keanu Moore. So it's a bounce back both teams are looking for. Blacktown City suffering a slate of tough losses over the last month. They managed to right the ship somewhat with that win at home last weekend against the Mariners. They need to follow up here against one of the other top six contenders. For APIA Leichhardt, such a good run of form before those couple of losses. Hadn't lost in 8 games across all competitions before that defeat last Saturday. Suddenly 2 on the trot has them on the back foot a little and needing a response today. 5 kickoffs across this 3 o'clock time slot in the NPL New South Wales men's competition. You can find all of them where you found this one. Plenty of implications across the top of the table. Rockdale and Marconi both in action after that loss for Spirit FC last night. And for fans of both Blacktown and APIA, we'll keep you updated on the progress of the game between St George FC and Marconi. They are the closest chasers, St George, to the teams chasing the top 6. It's a little bit of a points gap between them as we begin this afternoon. 8 between Blacktown and St George FC. If we do have a winner this afternoon, though, there's a chance that that margin will be cut somewhat as Farinella goes flying into a challenge with Berry. No harm done, says referee Jake Rose. Could be an opportunity for the hosts very early here. Blacktown combining to clear their lines. Fernandez, who's come back in an attacking role, dragging Drayden Kelly into midfield with him, but pass to Choi snuck over the touchline. Cameron Fong, one of the few who's been involved across all APIA's fixtures in the past week. Franco Parisi made a glut of changes for that Cup semi-final. Funnily enough, it was after all the substitutions that the story went awry for them. Looked to have put themselves back in a commanding position with a 2-1 advantage before the Tigers struck twice in the final 10 minutes to snatch their place in the final off them. So it looks as though 2 chances at silverware are gone for them this season, unless they really can come up with a remarkable turnaround in the final couple of months of the season. Sitting 9 points behind their great rivals Marconi as we come into the afternoon. Same can be said for Blacktown, but they don't have an opportunity in terms of Australian Championship honours as things stand, as they can really accelerate themselves back up the table. Most worrying thing for Mark Crittenden is their record against the top 6 this season. Yet to record a victory against the side above them. Get another opportunity to break that duck this afternoon. But close to full strength. Crittenden's made consistent changes across his 11 as he's tried to get the ingredients in the potion correct. I mean, glimpses of their best form, Blacktown, but have not produced it anywhere close to consistently enough to put themselves right amongst the title chasers. Fernandez with a run deep into midfield, playing without a real recognised striker at the moment, Blacktown City. Keanu Moore brought to the club more as a midfield player, wearing 9 on his back, but it's one of the false variety. Into that sort of talk about football tactics. And Michael Cooter is actually started in the heart of defence alongside Kelly today, with Bertolissio resuming in midfield as he did in midweek against the Tigers. It's actually one of the better performances in that game. It's the position he was brought to the club to play in, but found himself as part of the back 3 more often than not over the course of the early stages of the season. Here's Jack Stewart. Only saw a little bit of action off the bench on Wednesday night. So the same of Segreto. Farinella got a goal. Cambiashi. It already looks a little bit sharper from APIA Leichhardt. Stewart, Segreto, Cambiashi all involved. And that's a promising sign for Franco Parisi. Looking to ensure those last 2 games have just been a blip. Mentioned in the open. Really had been a pretty solid run of form. They looked as though they were in a position to capture some silverware, either in the Waratah Cup, where they were set to take on Sydney United, or to chase down Marconi and Spirits and Rockdale. Caspers through a crowd, and the last touch I think was off Lynch. Getting back to do some defending, the visitors coming under a swell of early pressure. Sean Simmons scored from a position just inside this corner position on Wednesday. It was a quite brilliant piece of ingenuity. It's a more direct cross this time. Fantastic save initially from Henderson, but Michael Cooter's there to tap in the rebound. Fantastic start for APIA Leichhardt. Their early pressure rewarded. Not through their most likely source. But Michael Cooter is always good for a goal or 2 each season. Was the Johnny on the spot when Henderson parried. And Blacktown's run of poor starts against this sort of opposition continues. Defence that has been leaky at best over the course of the season. Mitch Malia, who's so often been the man to bail Blacktown out of trouble this season, but he's going to have to do it again this afternoon. Fong. Nick O'Brien's done nicely. been restored to that central midfield position over the last few weeks. Alongside Adam Berry, it's given Blacktown a stronger base of ball-playing ability. You see him link up with Danny Choi in positions like that, giving Drayden Kelly some headaches at the back in the early stages. Talk about Mark Crittenden making those changes to his formation. It's something he's gone to on occasion over the last couple of seasons, sending Travis Major back into the centre of defence to give his team some game awareness, ability to manage results a little bit better. Hasn't borne fruit in the early stages today. Blacktown have responded well to going behind and testing ball from Choi. Kuda stooping to clear. Now Lachlan Campbell forced to retreat quickly. Never want Saya Kambiashi picking up the ball in that sort of area, running towards goal. He and Major sorted it out between themselves. Lynch. Fernandez. There's another in this Blacktown City side with game-breaking ability. We haven't seen an awful lot of it this season. In and out of the starting side for Mark Crittenden. Started more games than he's been brought off the bench. And his battle for that ball has won his team an attacking throw. Segreto furthest forward for APIA Leichhardt in the early stages. Talk about Blacktown playing without a recognised striker. Presley Ortiz only on the bench today for Franco Parisi and APIA Leichhardt. Hasn't stopped their goal-scoring flow. Only Rockdale have more in the league than them this season. They've started more brightly than they did on Wednesday night by some measure. Jack Stewart giving them some impetus down this right-hand side. He and Bandiera have gone head-to-head plenty of times down the years. Choi looking for the early switch. Not his favoured foot, he's right, but he hit that inch perfectly. Gorgeous first touch from Mitch Malia as well. And Malia has got off the shoulder here. Chance for an equaliser. Kalash spread himself. It's a tight angle for Mitch Malia. It was always going to be difficult to beat Kalash from there. Didn't even manage to get a shot away in the end. Proactive piece of goalkeeping from the APIA Gloveman. It's won back his starting spot from Anthony Bazanis over the last couple of weeks. Might have another test coming his way here. Choi runs past Fong. Moore. Casper's red. Malia trying to chop in on his left foot as he loves to do. Good game awareness there from the young APIA midfielder, Kambiashi. It's up there at the moment in talks for Player of the Year honours. It's going to be tough to catch Ali Kurisevsky in that little battle, but the Japanese startlet has recaptured some of the form that he showed in 2022 in leading Manly United all the way to a grand final, where they were beaten by Blacktown City. Danny Choi's gone down under that challenge that... After the challenge, in fact, it was Marty Fernandez that brought down... Nick O'Brien, rather, that brought down Jack Stewart, but this is not a good sign for Blacktown. Already down a goal. Physio straight out to check on the Korean. Always expect goals between these two teams. You can expect that first goal won't be the end of the scoring today. Across their last 6 games, clashes between these two have averaged 6 a game. It's quite remarkable. The last 3 fixtures have finished 4-3 in favour of Blacktown City. Classic at Landon Stadium back in round 4. Waratah Cup semi-final last season, which APIA won 5-2 at Landon Stadium. And a 3-1 win for APIA here. In June of last year. Danny Choi's testing out a knee and doesn't look too happy about it at the minute. Being signalled off by the referee, Jake Rose. He's going out under his own steam, which is a good sign. Doesn't seem to be too ginger either, so hopeful that he'll be rejoining the action very shortly. Blacktown continuing with 10 men just for the moment. And Choi signalling that he's good to resume, so back up to their full complement. Being down a man just momentarily. Straight away they're set on the back foot. Fong dribbling it right along the line and then booting it out of play, searching for Bertolissio. And the other early goal in those concurrent fixtures. In fact, there's been a couple. Marconi have taken a 0-0 lead against St George FC out at Barton Park. And Sutherland taking a surprise lead inside 10 minutes against Sydney Olympic away from home. So that's just been growing in confidence the last couple of weeks. Olympic still theoretically in a chance of finals. They too are going to be competing in that end-of-year Australian Championship. Eddie Casper's in disbelief about the decision given against him. Tell you what, they don't look unalike, seeing them standing there together, he and the referee, Jake Rose. Well, Choi, after that knee complaint, looked to be turning pretty sharply there, but then turned it over without too much pressure on him. Casper's for Kambiashi, and this is the threat he offers. We're so proactive, looking to move forwards. Travis Major there to snuff out that attack before it really began. Here's the Canadian centre-half, Drayden Kelly, for Jack Stewart. Burning down the right. Cross didn't pick out anyone in maroon and blue, though. Lynch with a risky ball out, and Blacktown are renowned for getting themselves into trouble in situations like that. We had a fantastic view of Stewart's strike, which knuckled its way towards Henderson's net. Thankfully for Blacktown, just the wrong side of the post. Blacktown lacking just a bit of that preciseness. Playing out from the back at the moment. Mike Crittenden's switch between the back 3 and the back 4 fairly consistently across the season. Looking to find a little bit more defensive solidity. As things stand after conceding that early goal, only the bottom 3 have worse defensive records than today's visitors. It's very much in contrast. We talk about championship winning form back in 2022 and that fantastic occasion for the club out at Combank Stadium. It was built on, yes, a team that could attack, but a defence that was so sturdy in its makeup. Looked anything but this season as Kambiashi ducks inside and forces a very good save from Henderson. Left Campbell for dead, really, as he stepped inside him and was very close to doubling APIA's advantage. This is just the start the doctor ordered for them. After those 2 tough results, already we're going to see a change here. Danny Choi has tried to continue, but not feeling fit enough. Tears off the wristbands in frustration. Maxime Yej getting an early entry into this game, which will please him, but I'm sure he won't be delighted about the circumstances. Choi, such a key contributor to Blacktown City for so many years. Short stint overseas in Portugal. Returned to the club a few years ago. It's been injury riddled since that return. Just hope it's not a recurrence of an old niggle that's popped up again on this Sunday afternoon. Kuda for Segreto. He's really got a free roaming role up front, hasn't he? Playing at the highest of the strikers, but with license to get back and try and pick up the ball deep. APIA scrapping for the ball a little bit better there than their opposition. I've got numbers on the right-hand side. Stewart's gone through the middle, though. Casper's tried to wriggle his way away from Grant Lynch. Easier said than done. Nick O'Brien for Mitch Malia. Just stuck his foot in there and it reached Marty Fernandez, who asked rather a lot of Maxim Yesh with that ball forwards. Talked in the pre-game about how much is on the line for both teams this afternoon in terms of playoff places. APIA will still feel, I think, more than Blacktown that they're a chance of making up that big gap. Both results hold between they and their great rivals Marconi. They'll sit 9 points behind them, which is make-upable with 10 games of the league season to go. It's more the fact that they'll have to jump another couple of clubs before reaching their great old rivals. Would have to be near faultless from here. Still, if all those results hold, even if Manly United managed to get a victory this afternoon, they'd be 9 points clear of their closest chasers in terms of top six positions, perhaps being pole position for a home elimination final in the first round. I wonder how that series works. Top two get the first weekends off, get to host the semi-finals in the second week. Those teams finishing from third to sixth have got to play an elimination final in midweek before the weekend of semi-final fixtures. Tough turnaround on weary legs. Both the top two making it straight through to the grand final in the first iteration of that final series format in the NPL New South Wales last season. APIA, of course, beaten here by Sydney United 58 and a bit of a turn-up of the form book. Disappointing result for them, particularly off the back of the Waratah Cup, but no, their silverware cabinet is still to be filled in 2025. And there's still an opportunity to do it on a couple of fronts. Haven't finished without a trophy in Franco Parisi's reign. The Premiership in 2023, when there was no final series. Beaten in the Waratah Cup final, again by Sydney United that year, before going on to get a bit of redemption against Rockdale last season. They've started very brightly here on this big Sunday afternoon. Sean Simmons once again over to deliver the cross. Henderson coming out, fists it up rather than out. Fernandez right on the edge of the 6-yard area, able to avert further danger, at least initially. Fongu was one of a few, wasn't at his best on Wednesday night. Retained his place in the sides. Franco Parisi, a big fan of the former Sydney FC academy player. Yesh's high presses, one out for Blacktown. He's trying to catch Kalatz at his near post. That's the closest Blacktown have come so far. Only the bend of the left-footed substitute, which took it wide of the post. APIA just losing their concentration, playing out from the back for a moment there. Oh, now there's a chance for Segreto, who's off the shoulder. Well, it's a familiar tale for Blacktown City, but Travis Major back to do the defending. Just asking the players in front of him quite how Jordan Segreto was allowed such a free run at the football. Very simple stuff from APIA, just a long ball over the top. Caught Blacktown on their heels. Pressure continues. Body language of the Blacktown City players at the moment, just not looking aside, energised and invigorated. Full of belief that early goal has sapped some confidence. APIA continuing to apply very good pressure. Lynch half away, Segreto. Then it was Fernandez making the block heroically because that was hit so forcefully. Kambiashi looking deep towards Simmons. Desperate defending from Campbell. Well, Blacktown just throwing bodies at it at the moment to keep APIA from doubling their lead. They'll get another chance from a further corner. Tell you what, that initial cross as well, Drayden Kelly was not far away from getting his head to the ball. Got a goal shortly after his arrival at the club, right at the start of the season. Hasn't hit the score sheet since. It's very much a target from these Sean Simmons crosses at the moment. Right towards him, and the Canadian got something on it, just a little bit too much height on it. Even for he, well over 6 foot. Blacktown survive another early raid. Blacktown almost trying to bluff their way long before going short to Major and Lynch. It's worked out for them. Bandiera has a bit of green grass in front of him. All towards Fernandez, didn't find its mark whatsoever. And Blacktown just struggling to get hold of any sort of meaningful possession in their attacking half at the moment. APIA right on top. Segreto is getting a ball spin away from him. Second season at the club, Jordan Segreto, spending a long time in the Central Coast Mariners academy system. What a fantastic return to New South Wales club football. Scoring consistently, particularly from set pieces. He knocked in 3 or 4 direct from free kicks, including that Waratah Cup semi-final mentioned a little bit earlier, a year ago. It's a stretch of about a month last season where he just felt every time he stepped over a dead ball it was going in. Trusted to play a little bit higher up the pitch with Presley Ortiz given a bit of a rest after a long stint on Wednesday night. Copped a fair few bumps and bruises as well playing against the back three of the Tigers. Very experienced Cole Mutton, the heart of that. Here's Adam Berry. He's had his own injury concerns over the course of this season. One of the first names on the Blacktown City team sheet when he is fit for Mark Crittenden. Good reason. One of the best proponents with the ball at his feet in the competition. APIA trying to drive Blacktown into a cul-de-sac, but looking a little bit better playing out from the back in the last 5 minutes or so. It's this area of the pitch where they're struggling to get a real foothold. That ball's still in play. Eventually trickles out with Keanu Moore almost eyeing it over the touchline, daring it to stay in. Malia, I think, knew what he was doing. You can say the same for Caspers, expecting the contact to come from behind him. There's only one decision for Jake Rose, really. Stewart. And it nicked off him by Bandiera. He's made a bright start to this game. Marty Fernandez, as usual, covering plenty of ground. Rides the challenge from Bertolicio. Oh, and a dangerous ball that wasn't too far from finding Malia. Just another moment's notice for APIA's back line. We talked about Blacktown's struggles in that area of the pitch. APIA have been slightly better, but not by a massive margin. Haven't kept a clean sheet in their last 7 against this opposition. Mentioned all the high-scoring games these two have played. Both teams have scored in all of the last 6. Blacktown will be hoping that statistic continues. They're creating enough just to give APIA a little heart stop every now and then. Still the hosts who are creating more consistently, but it's certainly not all one-way traffic. Sean Simmons. Segreto with Travis Major in his back. It's good harrying, hassling defence, which forces Segreto just to knock the ball over the touchline so it didn't trickle behind for a goal kick. Simmons heads out. A couple of updates from around the grounds. Wollongong have taken a lead up at Plume Park against the Central Coast Mariners. Rockdale leading by a goal to nil against the Mount Druitt Town Rangers. And St George have found an equaliser against Marconi, as have Sydney Olympic at Sutherland. Goals flying in around the grounds on this Super Sunday afternoon. And the NPL New South Wales men's. Still one game to come to complete the round as well at the conclusion of these 5 games. Manly United taking on Sydney FC at 5 o'clock. Blacktown extremely wasteful. That's not something you often say about Adam Berry. They're just looking a little bit rushed. It's not quite as cohesive and connected as Blacktown City would like going forward. Just ticked past the half-hour mark. Now it's Drayden Kelly going for an adventure. Fong held up by Nick O'Brien. Such a scrapper himself, and Fong's turnover leads to a Blacktown City free kick. Blacktown trying to play with intensity. Ball almost trickled out of play. Fortunately found Fernandez, who had no support in black near him. Nice touch from Eddie Caspers. And Segreto again has broken the line. Ball takes him a little wider than he would have liked, but now he can isolate Lynch and nutmeg him. Good covering from Bandiera, who bailed his more senior centre-half out. Everything Blacktown are doing is coming off the back of Marty Fernandez's hold-up work at the moment. It's not his usual role. Someone who likes to be facing towards goal rather than holding off central defenders in his back. He's doing an all right job of it, though. Just needs a few more black shirts flooding forward to support him. Looking a little isolated up there at the minute. Blacktown City, we mentioned their defensive struggles, but the goals have still been flying in. Quite at the rate of APIA Leichhardt, but they've actually scored more than the league leaders, Marconi, so far this season. Kambiashi, gorgeous bit of skill. He's had the measure of Campbell down that side of the pitch. And Segreto's dismissed Lynch and couldn't get the shot away. Eventually fell to Stewart. Heroic goalkeeping from Henderson. At full stretch to tip it round his post. Well, it did well to get the purchase on the header there, Jack Stewart. If it hadn't been for the athleticism and the anticipation of Henderson, APIA would be 2-0 up. That's been the nature of most of this opening half. Every time Blacktown City have found a foothold, APIA seem to have come up with a response. Sean Simmons has put in a plethora of corners from this side of the pitch in the opening stanza. He goes again, and this time Henderson saved initially, and then very commanding piece of goalkeeping to step out and collect amongst a forest of maroon jerseys. Oh, and now Malia goes down under a high arm from Michael Kuda. Jake Rose perhaps giving the APIA centre half today bit of a word. Don't think another one of those will see him go without a booking. No cards for either side yet. Just that lone goal to Michael Kuda, which has given APIA Leichhardt the lead here. A couple of very good saves from Caden Henderson have ensured it hasn't been more. And APIA playing themselves into trouble. Twice Kelly stretching to get there in the nick of time. And that's where Blacktown's best moments have come, when their press has been ferocious enough to give APIA Leichhardt some issues in their defensive third. Mitch Malia had a tough chance smothered by Oliver Kalatz inside the first 20 minutes. Then there was a ball fired just wide by Maxim Yesh. Again, APIA have just got to be aware at the back. By no means panic stations and keeping numbers back. That's not what they've been doing, because their midfield has really been winning that battle to this point. Casper's having a fine afternoon. Kambiashi looking to join in this attack with Segreto, who ignored him but played it off major. APIA are just totting up the corners. Blacktown City haven't been, as with most defensive phases, at their best this season from set-piece situations. You feel if they continue to concede them, one's bound to end up in the back of the net. Kambiashi goes the short option. Gets it back off Segreto. The cross is dangerous. Sean Simmons inside the 6-yard box, but stretching every sinew. Not able to keep the header on target. Pressure continues to build on Blacktown City's backline, who have scrambled well when called upon, which has probably been a situation that's arisen a bit more than Mark Crittenden will be comfortable with. Kambiashi's pressure just forcing Adam Perry to play out. His radar is not on today. 2022 campaign, I remember reading a statistic where his pass completion rate was up around 90%, which is outstanding by any comparison across any competition in the world. Henderson's, as a goalkeeper, will never be that high, but Travis Major put him under some sort of pressure. It won't help that number. Farinella, who got the goals to give APIA Leichhardt the lead in the second half of that cup clash on Wednesday night. APIA, for all their dominance, haven't been able to find a second yet. We know Blacktown will push for an equaliser of their own. Only know one way, is to play forward quickly with intensity. Leaves themselves open more often than not in transition in positions like this. Playing out just as I was commenting on it. And again, Campbell has the challenge of trying to shut down Kambiashi. Switches the angle to Stewart this time. And Stewart goes alone. Henderson didn't manage to gather, but it fell right at the feet of Major, fortunately for the City Gloveman. Bit of fortune playing into Blacktown's defending, but they continue to be picked apart by this precise APIA football. Segreto, that was less so. Still might fall for Fong, who was second into the challenge with Yesh. To his credit, didn't really appeal for any sort of penance. Now Fernandez has managed to skip away from Kelly. That's a good bit of recovering defence from the APIA centre-half, who wanted the throw-in as well after that lung-busting effort. Might well have had a case as well, but Jake Rose saw the final touch off the APIA Leichhardt defender. Canadian steps in to take the ball back himself. Sean Simmons is looking for a big switch here because Stewart's got no one near him. Lynch manages to back up and nod the ball out in the nick of time. With so much experience, Grant Lynch is going to end up his Blacktown City career up around Matty Lewis and Travis Major for games played, two legends of this football club. They've got more defending to do here. Caspers was lining that up. Farinella took it instead. It's pretty good with both feet, Franco Farinella. Not able to steer that one on target. Made his APIA Leichhardt debut a couple of seasons ago, part of that premiership winning campaign. Franco Parisi's first season in charge, spent a year away, Farinella, with the Bulls Academy. A quick trip overseas as well. He's come back a much better rounded footballer. He's found himself with a very consistent and a strong run in the first team. Starting more often than not this season. Eddie Casper's not feeling he's getting the rub of the green at the moment, but he has managed to pick up a free kick for his troubles. His little scrap there with Keanu Moore. Gorgeous touch from Segreto, which has taken Campbell out of the game. Simmons had a chance to get his head up. Casper's trying to make something of it, but used his arm to control as he made his way into the area. Jack Stewart looking buoyed today. Proud Kamilaroi man out around the Tamworth area. First onto the scene in the NPL New South Wales. His time with Mount Druitt Town Rangers. It's been a fine pickup for APIA over their past 3 seasons. It's one of those under Parisi that has not yet failed to take home silverware in his time at the club. Doesn't want that to change in 2025. He's scrapping forward with Bandiera. Nicked off in by Lynch. Now there might be a chance for Blacktown to try and give APIA a taste of their own medicine. Just need more numbers forward. Malia. Ducking inside Kambiashi. And he's got too much on that for Mark Simiesh. An example of the difference between these two at the moment. That last passage of play probably showed it to you. Blacktown still building something here. Malia again having his touch betray him at the critical moment, but Blacktown do have an attacking throw from which to base themselves late in this first half. Oliver Kalatz has only really had one save of note to make, but he's making his presence known. Goalkeeper of the year in this competition, playing for Sydney United 58 a year ago. Under Father Zelka, who's now moved on as well. Socceroos legend, of course. AC Milan legend. There's a chance to put his foot on the ball here. It's an interesting note at the start of the season. Anthony Bazanis made the team of the year in that goalkeeping position. So APIA had the 2 award winners available to them. Casper's header. Precise ball from Sean Simmons. You expect nothing less. And Henderson's been the one with all the work out of the 2 custodians. He's carried it out to a pretty high level. The 19-year-old. Trusted with the role by Mark Crittenden. It's not all gone to plan all year, but a lot of the defensive problems, he's been maybe the last to blame. He's turned in some very sturdy performances himself. Probably the one area the game can work on a little bit is the distribution side of things, but His shot stopping today has been exemplary. Thanks to him, the Blacktown only trail by the solitary goal at the moment. Still right in the contest. Yej, early substitute for Danny Choi, who went off with, looked like a little niggle in that left knee again. Hoping that's nothing serious. Tried to carry on, but eventually had to be removed by Mark Crittenden and Matty Pingley. Know how important that final 2 months of the season is going to be. Can't afford to lose Choi for any longer than is completely necessary. Playing on today, probably not worth it in the long run. Jacob Kresnar given a rest for that same reason. It's a very experienced replacement in that position. On the ball now, Jackson Bandiera. Reluctant to call Bandiera an understudy because he's a first-team player and very much so in his own right. Part of that 2022 Grand Final winning team. Major looking for the switch of play. See, he scored the second and decisive goal in that Grand Final. Terrific solo run. He's found himself again in the heart of defence today. He's carrying out that job with the same level of professionalism. Team in front of him being outplayed largely by APIA Leichhardt, though. Responded very well to those two losses over the last week that we talked about early in the broadcast. Shown a good level of professionalism and concentration, the 11 out there today, to put that out of their minds. Resume the standard that they'd been setting as we'd entered the winter months. Seen them rise back up the table well and truly into the top six. Maxim Yej has been energetic since coming on. It's another little intervention to force Fogg into the error. Blacktown arguing that ball might not have quite crossed the sideline. Seen quite a bit of action right in front of our commentary position, right up on the gantry at Lambert Park today. Almost as though to emphasise that point, a little bit of back and forth between the two teams. Fernandez's touch just lacking quite the right angle for Yej to chase it down. Kambi-Yashi with a fantastic, inventive ball over the top for Jack Stewart. Has Lynch backpedaling. We see the experience of Grant Lynch there. Knows Stewart's got probably a level more athleticism. But he at 32. He stuck to the task, made sure his body was in the right position. There's no way for Stewart to get around him and chase it down. Any kids out there growing up to play in the centre of defence as an undersized central defender as Lynch is, that's exactly how to do it. Stewart, whose ball-playing ability has been as good as he's driving forward. Usually what he's noted for. The ball from Simmons, just a yard too much on it for Jordan Segreto. Doesn't quite look all natural to him, does it? Playing as the 9, but he's making a good fist of it. Runs into the right areas. Coming deep as often as possible. He's more comfortable to get on the ball. Franco Farinella in there as well, goes into a big challenge with Lynch, and then Fong nicks it off the toe of Yej. Comes back to the 20-year-old midfielder. Farinella, wide for Kambi-Yashi. Segreto, it was almost APIA at their best. Just lacking the timing by a yard or two. That's the sort of situation they're looking for. Third man runs and all that sort of thing. Jake Rose says there's no need for any added time at the end of the first half. It was a good flowing game of football. which brought chances for both early in the half. That petered out a little as the 45 minutes went on, but APIA can be content with their advantage. Michael Kuda scoring from a knockdown from a set piece that wasn't cleared by Blacktown City. That defensive bug coming back to bite them again. Defended gamely, and Caden Henderson has had a fine first half. Without him, Blacktown's might well be a little deeper. Couple of chances of their own. Mitch Malia forcing Oliver Kalatz to spread himself, and Maxim Yej firing just off target. Well, that's the closest Blacktown have come. They're going to need a renewed effort in the second half if they are to take anything from this game. Gorgeous Sunday afternoon at Lambert Park, Joe Marston Pavilion, a beautiful backdrop. Alex Molchanov set to join you for the second half in 10 or 15 minutes, but as the two teams head to the sheds, it's APIA Leichhardt 1, Blacktown City 0. Welcome back to Lambert Park. The second half of this round 19 clash in the NPL New South Wales men's about to get back underway between APIA Leichhardt and Blacktown City. APIA taking the lead after just 6 minutes through Michael Cooter, starting in the heart of defence today. Knocking in his 4th of the year. Fantastic return for a place. Usually a little further forward as a wing-back, but still managed to pop up in the right spot at the right time. So good goal-keeping from Caden Henderson has kept Blacktown City in this contest. Still pushing forward enough to show that this game has quite a bit of jeopardy left in it, but APIA were the superior side across the opening 45 minutes. We've already seen a big turnaround once already this weekend, though. St George City trailed 2-0 last night against the high-flying Spirit FC and managed to get themselves back in the contest and take home all 3 points. Well, the second half comeback that began with just 15 minutes to play. So Blacktown City still with time on their side, but they're going to need an improved performance in the second half. Mark Crittenden's gone to his bench at the break as well. Jared McKinley coming onto the pitch in place of number 9, Keanu Moore. Starting his second straight game up front, but not providing enough for Crittenden's liking. So a little bit of a rejig in the attacking ranks. Still got a couple more left up his sleeve, particularly in the form of Jack O'Brien. Should he look to go there across the second half? Blacktown City will need to be a little more precise in their play. Adam Berry, who had an up and down first half, need him to be at the heart of all things good that they're doing through midfield. APIA winning out with a man advantage in that part of the field, starting the midfield 3 with a false 9. Means that they've packed the centre of the park more often than not. Blacktown have struggled to really sustain any sort of possession in their attacking third. Marty Fernandez has been most lively of their attacking players. He's trying to link up with Yesh here. His first half substitute for the, once again, injured Danny Choi. Unfortunately, it looks like a recurrence of that knee problem that's hampered him for so much of the past 2 seasons. Hoping it's just a slight niggle rather than anything too serious. Jackson Bandiera a little cynical in his takedown of Franco Farinella as the young APIA midfielder looked to turn that. Jake Rose has managed to keep the cards in his pocket to this stage in the game. Patience being tested, though, early in the second half. First chance for Jared McKinley to show a clean pair of heels. There was a coming together between he and Caspers, but nothing untoward according to referee Rose. Stewart for Farinella. Didn't really have any support up there. Jordan Segreto would have been chasing what looked like a lost cause. Simmons for Farinella, who's been the heartbeat of APIA through their midfield today. Put in a superb display to this point. Kambayashi trying to wriggle free of Campbell. He's had the better of that little battle. Now they go straight out to the side that Campbell's vacated. Segreto recognising the space and now engaging Major. Henderson again standing up for Blacktown. He made a number of big saves in the first half. And he was sharp down to his left again there. Might be in line for player of the match honours at the moment, the Blacktown City goalkeeper. Such has been the standard of his work, even in a side that's trailing by a goal to nil. Brought into that position, brought about by the move of long-time Blacktown City number 1 Tristan Prendergast. Departed Landon Stadium in the off-season for Edenza Park with Sydney United. Lynch looking for something to give Blacktown a spark, get them back in to this game on the scoreboard. They've been sturdy combatants, but haven't created enough of their own to really deserve an equaliser at this stage. And Nick O'Brien's lost out to Caspers, who just read that a little better. Kambayashi against Campbell again. Darts past him on the outside. Campbell game, but he skipped past him again, Kambayashi. This time the cross only reaches Maxime Yež, watchful in his defensive duties. Fernandez brought down by Farinella. Mitch Marley is sitting notably higher in this second half. Obviously been given that licence at the break. Try and put some more pressure on the APIA backline in transition. Their top goal scorer this season. 33-year-old. Looked as though he was going to be forced into retirement a couple of years ago. This season has really been his renaissance. Just needs a bit more support from those behind him. This is better already in the second half. Blacktown showing more, but Stewart doing the work to halt that attack, but then ran into a cul-de-sac of his own making. Fong with the pressure on Yež, and his determination won out and won the free kick. Alex Molchanoff along with you on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel this afternoon. One of 5 fixtures we've got running across the afternoon. This one the only game between 2 top 6 combatants. And Stewart's trying to widen the advantage to APIA Leichhardt. Again Henderson, who spilled on the second attempt and then finally reeled it in at the third before slipping as he cleared. And Caspers recognises he's off his line. Frantic sequence of play. That's where Blacktown City have got themselves into trouble. You can't question their desire to play in an up-tempo fashion and really give themselves every opportunity of getting back into this one, but it's gone from proactive to panicked at times. And then Campbell running into danger. Ended up with Segreto, and now Segreto stepping on the ball, and his cry of pain has brought a stoppage from Jake Rose, which is to the displeasure of Nick O'Brien because Blacktown had an attacking opportunity. But the injury is serious enough for the referee to stop things. APIA standing around their injured player. This doesn't look good. Awful moment. You heard Segreto's cries. He just stood on the football. There was nothing untoward from the Blacktown City players, who are understandably disappointed themselves, but I think the referee's made the right call here in terms of stopping things. He was right on the spot, Jake Rose. Injury serious enough to need immediate medical attention. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the end of Jordan Segreto's afternoon. So disappointing as well. He's covered so much ground, and his reward is a rather painful end. Teammates gathered around him. Sean Simmons is chatting to him, and Travis Major sportingly going over to lend a hand of his own. Now that emotion has been taken out of the situation somewhat. Just joining us, it's Jordan Segreto down at the moment, receiving treatment from the APIA physio, to stepping on the football. Twist of the lower leg or the ankle. Grant Lynch as well, just over to offer his condolences. I think Blacktown City can see now that there was nothing unsporting about Segreto going down there. That cry of pain was very legitimate. The stretcher's actually now being readied by the APIA Leichhardt staff. It's a very, very sad end. Segreto had been so lively up front, entrusted with the role as really the false 9 this afternoon. APIA going into this one without a recognised striker. Presley Ortiz only coming off the bench. Doesn't look as though Segreto's ever going to be able to make his way from the ground under his own steam. So just a short stoppage in play here. Again, a stoppage here just because Jordan Segreto's gone down after stepping on the football. Pretty serious lower leg injury. Not sure whether it was ankle or knee. It's that twisting motion that you never like to see. This artificial surface. Alex Denmead is being readied as a replacement. Conversations going on between the players. He'll need to stay warm as well. Not frosty conditions tonight. Thankfully, the stretch has been waved away by Segreto at this point. Drayden Kelly and Sean Simmons around to help him off. It's an opportunity for Alex Denmead, but coming in disappointing circumstances. We've already seen one injury this afternoon. Danny Choi went down early in the first half for Blacktown City. Applause around Lambert Park for their injured star. He's made such an impact since joining the club a couple of seasons ago, Jordan Segreto. A real breakout year last year. Spending so long in the Mariners Academy system, the Manly United junior. He hobbles off. Looks as though we're not going to be seeing him for a few weeks more. Such a shame. Alex Denmead makes his way on. I'm sure APIA will give the ball sportingly back to Blacktown City, despite the conversations that are ongoing. In fact, it might just be a drop for Nick O'Brien. APIA getting back in the defensive position. So, we're back underway. Blacktown starting with that ball high in midfield. They're disappointed by the stoppage because of the attacking opportunity they felt they had, but I think they would have loved to score an equaliser on the back of a player going down injured like that. Thoughts with Jordan. I'm sure we'll get news about the severity of that injury over the course of the week. Fernandez drags down Fong in pursuit of the football. It's a quick update from that game particularly. We've got an eye on amongst 5 concurrent ones on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel this afternoon. Marconi Stallions have taken a 2-1 lead against St George FC just after the half-time break. Which will be a happy thought for Blacktown City supporters if this result holds and maintain their 7-point lead over St George. The battle for 6th spot. Manly United in action at the conclusion of this game tonight. 5 o'clock kickoff for them out at Cromer Park against the Sky Blues Academy. They've hit some form over recent weeks, the young Sky Blues as well. Trying to make their bid to get up towards the top 6. So likely, unless there's a draw between these two, that Blacktown's buffer to those chasing teams will be chopped down to 7 points, or 6 points rather. Mathematics on the fly. It's not the strength of too many commentators. Bandiera a little too close to Jack Stewart. They've had a good little running battle down that wing. Stewart ducking into midfield, trying to get things started through the middle for APIA Leichhardt. They're still holding the 1-0 advantage given to them by Michael Kuda after just 6 minutes. Set piece that wasn't particularly well defended by Blacktown City. I mentioned in the first half, this has been a fixture that has brought goals en masse over the last few seasons. Average of 6 a game between their last 6 meetings. Mark Crittenden holding a head-to-head with Franco Parisi with a 3-2 lead. That will level off if their scoreline holds. Wouldn't back against another goal or two before the end of the evening, though. Stewart. Those dancing feet. Bertoliccio's touch just took him a little further than he would have liked, but he stretches to get there and played out to Kambiashi. Stewart's continued his run forwards. Lynch squaring up to him. Sean Simmons forward on the overlap from left full back. A little bit of a lazy pass, really. Straight into Campbell. Mitch Marley being forced to track back, which is not what Blacktown City want to see. They need he and Fernandez as high as possible across this second half. Certainly don't want to see Oliver Callatz standing with a ball like that. Time of the essence now. Just under half an hour to play here at Lambert Park. It's the hosts off the back of those two big losses over the last week. We've allayed some fears of a form slump with a very professional performance in the most part. Now the question is whether they've got that killer instinct to put the game to bed. Blacktown have been able to get a couple of late equalisers across the course of the season without contributing too much to the game before that. You're going to have trouble if Stewart's finding those sorts of areas. Caspers had made the run infield. Stewart thought he was staying wide, and so the ball trickles harmlessly out of play. Good crowd have joined us at Lambert Park this afternoon as well. We heard them in full voice as that first goal went in. There's been a few oohs and ahs brought on by Caden Henderson's fine goalkeeping. Might have another test here with Farinella in a shooting position. Just to hold off Fernandez. Fed it for Stewart. Back for Fong and Bertolicio. Assessing his options. Stewart, or Simmons rather. Denmead. First meaningful run since coming on. He's got to the ball ahead of Lynch and laid it back for Kambiashi. Now their targets in the middle. There weren't too many. Kambiashi had to go the cute option. Wasn't quite able to pull it off. This is where they want Mitch Marley out of that touch. Took him backwards rather than towards his attacking half, and Kambiashi's going to try and use his pace to deliver here. Smart piece of defending from Major. Beautiful body position for a player who is nominally a striker. He's a jack of all trades now for Mark Crittenden. Stewart. Still the danger not averted for Blacktown. Gorgeous ball. Caspers just reamed it across the face of goal. Fong still makes something of it. Oh, and Denmead had to do better. Tried to control rather than poking home. He'd wriggled free of Travis Major. Chance goes begging for APIA. And now they've got to be careful in transition. Brilliant piece of defending from Kuda. Stretching his legs to get across. Nick O'Brien, who clattered through the back of him. Got some problems with his arms and hands down the ears there, Michael Kuda. He's just reaching for that left shoulder. Seems to be okay. Of course, wearing that bandage on his left hand for about a year or so, off the top of my head. Fracture he suffered a few years ago. He's got the goal today. He's been the goal-scoring hero for APIA in some big games down the years as well. Latest in that Waratah Cup final of 2024. He's opened the scoring against Rockdale Illingdon. APIA was so terrific at Jubilee Stadium that night. I'll tell you what, their performance today has not been too far short of that. Really have been so proactive. Look very fluid in possession. Bertolicio is missing that final touch in the opposition penalty area. Kelly, well, that was an audacious effort. The strike with his less favoured left had plenty of purchase on it, just couldn't keep it down. The rain has joined us at Lambert Park, deep into the second half. Just to cool things a little further. Finally began to feel like winter in the NPL New South Wales men's. Start of the season was met with sweltering conditions. It finally cooled off. It's actually brought some very good football with it. wind in the heat. Had that game between these two earlier in the year, back in round 4, which finished 4-3 in Blacktown City's favour. This has been a fixture, though, that's gone the way of the home sides in the league over the last few seasons. Both have struggled to win away at the other. That narrative is holding here this afternoon. Not quite the high-scoring, high-flying encounter we might have expected, but perhaps that's the last thing APIA needed after the week they've had. This game has gone to script to this point, but we've seen all that change on plenty of occasions in this competition down the years. And Mitch Malia has got a chance here, off the post. Well, Blacktown might have just had their moments and their luck was out. Malia did everything right. It's run across. I think the covering defence from Kelly might have just got a touch that forced it onto the post because Calats was beaten. But is that opportunity the one that buoys Blacktown? They'll certainly hope so. Adam Berry's got space to run into. McKinley. Now Lynch, loose. Turns it over cheaply. And APIA have numbers here. This could be a real sucker punch if they play it right. Denmead. And this is where they want Saya Kambiashi on it. Went the unselfish option. And it fell to Stewart. Heroic block from McKinley. Blacktown's desperation defensively this afternoon has been nothing short of admirable. Players launching themselves in front of the ball to keep their side in it. And APIA, for all their good work, have not been able to kill this game off and find the second goal. Blacktown search for an equaliser goes on. Henderson helped out by his defence on this occasion. McKinley is tracked all the way back from the right wing, higher up the pitch. Throwing himself across to make the block. But Kambiashi is causing all sorts of problems. Shorter runners through the middle this time, so just lays it off for Bertolicio. Denmead. No one following him into midfield, so he'll turn. Ball wide for Stewart. Had to hold his run. Now he's face to face with Yash. Favourite in that little battle. Ball fired across and cleared by Lynch. Only as far as his opposite number, Kelly, and you see the strength of the Canadian right there. Signed for APIA after a season over in New Zealand with Rochdale Rovers. It's great rivals Auckland City, of course, about to get their Club World Cup campaign underway in the very early hours tomorrow morning. Australian Eastern Time against the mighty Bayern Munich. Football really never does stop at the moment, does it? No, that in Australia, of course. Denmead. Oh, Henderson. Heroic again. That ball had all sorts of dip and swerve and power on it. And the reactions of the Blacktown City custodian. Right on the money again. He's got such a beautiful right boot, Alex Denmead. So often test goalkeepers just with brute force. Henderson up to the challenge that time. It's a defensive change from Mark Crittenden. Ben Berry, who does offer a threat from attacking set pieces, but is by nature a defender. I think that means Travis Major will find himself further up the pitch in the closing stages of this one. Defending to do first, though. Kambiashi's ball towards Kelly. Brave piece of defending from the Blacktown City skipper. To rise above him. APIA just regather to launch another raid on Blacktown's goal. Feel the killer blow is coming. Drew first blood on 6 minutes through Michael Kuda. It's a game that's been eminently watchable, really high quality of football, particularly from APIA with the football, but Blacktown's defence has added to the contest much more markedly than in previous weeks. They don't get the result today. I think there's signs of encouragement for Mark Crittenden this afternoon. He'll be happy with nothing less than a win, but given the pattern of this game and how much defending his team's had to do, something they haven't managed to carry out quite as well as in seasons gone. Promising signs in that aspect. Nick O'Brien clever enough to win his side the throw. Tick into the final 20 minutes here. Artificial light starting to take over from the natural stuff. She did have quite a bright sunny day, and I think you're hearing a bit of thunder rolling in, so let's hope that just stays away for the next 15 minutes or so. Oh, Campbell's made a mess of that, and Kambiyashi couldn't bring it under his spell. So the same as Simmons as he tried to keep the attack alive. Shake of the head. So retreats to his fullback position. Well, Campbell's gone for a fair old walk down the touchline there. The ball certainly struck Cooter's arm, and Jake Rose was waiting to see whether an advantage developed. It didn't. So can Blacktown City find something clever here from a set piece? We just mentioned the added threat that Ben Berry gives them in the area. Brother Adam standing over this set piece. Jake Rose just asking him to take the ball back a couple of yards. Need a little bit more muscle in this ball. Plenty of height in the APIA defence as well, so it's going to have to be accurate. It's anyone who can deliver it, it's Adam Berry. He just hoists it high. And it is Ben who gets his head to it. He's knocked down in a fairly dangerous area as well. Came back to sticks, as he's known, around Landon Stadium, and an uncompromising challenge from Farinella. Talked a little bit in the first half about his development over the last couple of years. That's the aspect of his game that has improved so impressively. Becoming a more rounded central midfielder, someone who really plays box to box now. Malia. Cooter sharp, as he was for the opening goal. Very desperate. Managing to get to that one in front of Alex Denmead. His pace is his real asset rather than his physicality with his back to goal. Franco Parisi obviously keen to keep Presley Ortiz out of the action today. I'm not sure whether that's down to a knock or something else. Not going to use him unless it's desperately needed. They do have to chase a second in the latter stages of this game. At the moment, the lead given to them by Michael Cooter inside the opening 10 minutes. Looking enough. Blacktown trying to change that narrative. Sloppy pass from Yesh. A key moment. There's just been a little bit too much of that from Blacktown City today. Stewart. Chance to stretch his legs. And he's just darted past Yesh like he was a traffic cone, and then Nick O'Brien, to his frustration, is blown for a foul, which APIA take quickly. Fong. Caspers. Stewart again. He's gone for goal. Henderson saw it all the way. One of the simpler bits of goalkeeping he's had to do this afternoon. He's come under a fair bit of pressure, and now Lynch's ball-playing ability has just deserted him again there. Oh, lovely ball from Stewart. Caspers had just stepped offside, and Henderson again kept it out. That one won't count on the save stats sheet, but tell you what, he has put in a fair performance. Without wanting to harp on the point, but his influence on this game has really been that big. At the moment, though, it's Oliver Callatz who'll end up with the clean sheet. It's been a relative bystander. The dominance of his team in front of him has He's had a quiet afternoon. Concentration needed right until the final whistle. APIA are all too aware of that after the manner in which they dropped the Waratah Cup semi-final against the Northern Tigers on Wednesday night. Blacktown will be aware of that as well. It's they who are on fresher legs, theoretically, having not had to play in midweek. Apologies if you picked up a bit of the language there from Michael Kuda. He was less than impressed that the throw-in hadn't gone his way. Kelly's managed to win APIA back the football in any case, and Kambiashi's got a head start in the foot race. Henderson playing sweeper. It's had another fine afternoon in an attacking position, say Kambiashi. Not been able to reap the rewards of a goal or an assist, but has consistently given Blacktown all sorts of issues down the left. Jacob Kresnar making his way onto the field, the end of the afternoon for Jackson Bandiera. Like-for-like substitution, he'll just slot in at left back. And Jared McKinley was only brought on at half-time, has got through his work as well. Jack O'Brien brought in, and that is a bit of thunder that you're hearing through the effects mics rolling in here at Lambert Park. I think we're going to be racing against the conditions as much as anything else. Certainly might be the case for Blacktown. It might be why Mark Crittenden has gone to his bench now. Just over 10 minutes to play. Jack O'Brien has got a good goal-scoring record against APIA Leichhardt. Scored in the last two league fixtures between these two. Trusted in the striking role. Kresnar for Jack's brother Nick O'Brien. Berry. Then that is. Now for Adam. Had to be cute. Major was the only option forwards and he couldn't keep the ball in play. O'Brien and Adam Barry just getting in each other's way a little there. Can Blacktown up the tempo? Can they up their urgency? We'll need to if they're to find an equaliser. Haven't put Callats under enough pressure to suggest they'll get that reward in the second half. Still time though. Campbell's header only as far as Stewart. Kambiashi outside him. Stands and waits for the engagement of the defence. Kambiashi does similar. Face to face with Campbell. He's played it a touch behind Sean Simmons, who was making the underlapping run. Ball's curled out of play by Ben Berry. Sean Simmons. Got a bit of fortune as the ball just knuckled off him. Stewart. He's looking to create the room for a shot. Adam Berry watchful. His touch only goes to Farinella. And then Lynch is there to clean up the scraps, but his pass escaping Jack O'Brien. Caspers with a turnover on the stretch. Ball just running into the heels of Jack O'Brien, and Kelly's collected, but he's rode both challenges of the two O'Briens. Brilliant bit of work, and Kambiashi skips away from Campbell again. Couldn't find his way past Ben Berry, but a corner more than enough for APIA at this stage. He is a joy to watch, say Kambiashi, when he has the ball at his feet, running at defenders. Quick of mind. Body more often than not follows. So technically proficient. Wondering if we're going to get something from the training ground here, because Sean Simmons has just been over to have a word with his Japanese midfielder. Something creative here coming from APIA. Well, they just look to put the pressure on Henderson again. He's gone almost direct. And the foul on the Blacktown keeper as he recovered. Vicious, swerving ball from Kambiashi. Again, Henderson had his wits about him. Ten minutes to go. We're racing the thunderstorm that's coming here as well. Just sent a flash of lightning up to our right. Still seems a fair team away. But Jake Rose will be aware of that. I think that's getting a bit close for our liking up here. Saya Kambiashi's got the ball at the forefront of his mind. Sean Simmons and Farinella. This could kill it off before the Thunder does. Denmead. Good save from Henderson. Launches up to Jack O'Brien. Malia. This would set the cat amongst the pigeons if Blacktown were able to get something now. Drayden Kelly might just be happy to see the ball go out of play. Right along the line, it stayed in for Stewart. 3-on-3 here for APIA Leichhardt. Denmead and Kambiashi up with Stewart. He might look to go all alone. It's still Jack Stewart. Oh, and he found the only defender back in Lachlan Campbell. Still, he misplaces his pass. Denmead for Stewart again. And now Caspers has time to tee something up. Kambiashi's touch is good. Caspers still up here, can't get a shot away. Simmons has a go. Henderson makes the save. Yash. But Thunder continuing to roll through the background. He strides forward. This game's really started to open up. It's all becoming a bit chaotic here at Lambert Park. Kuda. No one wants this game to be stopped. Want to get through it. So close at the end of the 90 minutes. Simmons. Bending one over the top. Denmead in a foot race with Ben Berry, who had front spots, and wins the free kick. Clever enough piece of defensive work. No one's moved here from the stands at Lambert Park. Caspers. APIA looking more and more likely as this wears on, but ball for Jack Stewart, just had him a moment or two short of getting there. Jack O'Brien dragged down by Drayden Kelly. There's still a chance here for Blacktown. They've kept themselves in the contest, and as such, still the possibility they could claim something late here. Marconi still leading by 2-1 against St George City. Rockdale have taken a 4-0 lead over Mount Druitt Town Rangers. So everything looking as though it's going to hold right at the top of the table this afternoon. Everybody forward. Not too many outside the penalty areas. Nick O'Brien launches this one in. Kelly climbed highest. APIA might be able to go in transition. Oh, Simmons went the inside ball instead. And it might open up for Mitchell Malia. Had the distance, but not the dip. And Oliver Kallatz was not too impressed with the efforts of the defenders in front of him. Jake Rose is keen for us to finish. Five minutes to go. Very surprised if Blacktown get the luxury of any stoppage time. Bertolicio. And Yesh is dragged down by the APIA Leichhardt midfielder. And Yesh is rolling around and getting into some afters. Very unnecessary given where Blacktown are in the game. Chasing it, and this is a real to and fro. Goodness me. Jack Stewart right in the middle of it. This really sparked out of nothing. It looked a fairly simple coming together. And a game that has been far from fractious. We haven't seen a yellow card shown to either side to this point. Suddenly everybody was in together. Sparked by Maxim Yesh. Going back at the man who dragged him down, Bert Alicio, who looked rather bemused by it all. So yellow card shown. Well, there's a bit of panic setting in the APIA back line. As rain continues to fall here at Lambert Park. Marlia's free kick. And Kalats claims it comfortably. Offside flag was up as well on the near side from our assistant down there, Damien Dolofsky. That's waved away by Jake Rose. Crunching challenge from Marlia. That's not going to help Blacktown City's cause whatsoever. Marlia offering, I think, was far from a conciliatory word. Just so surprising. It really sparked something because this game had been played in such good spirit to that point. Another crash of thunder in the background, just to add to it. What's becoming an increasingly tense atmosphere. Henderson long. Not long for APIA to see out now. Yesh hoists it high. Kuda's touch in favour of Jack O'Brien. Berry. Blacktown moving it sharply as they chase the equaliser. Yes, trying to measure it for Nick O'Brien. Couple into the melee and then away by Caspers. Campbell rides the challenge of Caspers. We go himself. He feeds Major out on the right. Haven't seen him too prominently since coming up. Might have a key touch here. Kelly getting up to do the defending. Kresnar steps away from Dredden Kelly. Cross didn't match that little bit of skill. The Canadian thumps it clear. Just over a minute of regular time to play. Can APIA hold on? 1/6 minute strike from Michael Kuda might be enough. Lynch, but it's down the wrong end for Blacktown. Yesh. Marlia still running channels, and Kelly's touch not quite behind. Actually ended up in the APIA changing room, that ball. Nick O'Brien. Searching cross again, but Kalach knocked it down for himself and then falls on it. If everything goes to plan, we will get a couple of minutes of stoppage time. That's what the assistant, Matt Staples, seems to be signalling to both benches here. It's a long stoppage for Jordan Segreto to receive treatment a little earlier. Stewart stepping past one, held on to by a couple of Blacktown players. And Jake Rose says that will be that. The Lightning has become too close, much to the frustration of Blacktown City, but I think it's the correct decision for the safety of all involved here. So we're going to go to the sheds with the scoreline still at 1-0, but we're going to get down from our broadcast position as well because we are out in the open here at Lambert Park. That could be the final whistle. APIA Leichhardt leading by 1-0 thanks to Michael Kuda. I'd expect that's the final score now with this lightning storm still gathering around. If we resume, we'll be back in the next little period of time, thankfully. But for now, Alex Morsanoff signing off from Lambert Park with a scoreline, APIA Leichhardt 1, a very frustrated Blacktown City FC 0. Welcome back to Lambert Park. You've been watching some of the discussions in the tunnel there between the coaching staffs and the players and the officials from Football New South Wales. Just had the announcement go through across the PA that tonight's game has been suspended. Football New South Wales to make a decision on whether the result stands, given we were so close to full time, or whether we will be back here at some stage over the next couple of weeks to complete the final few minutes. But it ends here this evening at Lambert Park with a score sitting APIA Leichhardt 1, Blacktown City 0, thanks to Michael Cooter's 6th-minute strike. An additional note on that the under-20s game, which was set to follow this one, has also been suspended. Thank you for staying with us through this delay. Unfortunate end to what was a terrific night of action on the football pitch. But as it stands, APIA Leichhardt set to run out the winners here by 1-0.